Hello, this is Wmpyr here with FMA Talk episode 1. So, yay, this is the grand beginning. I know that in other episodes that I tried to start, they didn't last. So, I'm hoping this one will be a little different, all right? But so for this, I wanted to definitely start with a bang. I wanted to do something a little bit different. Okay, not different. Special is the word that I wanted to use. I wanted to do extra meaningful, and for me that had to be, it was a no-brainer. It was the Heaven6. Why? Because that's pretty much what launched my YouTube channel back in 2006. So we're gonna go back to the humble origins, the humble beginnings of the Wmpyr YouTube channel, and we're going to talk about the Heaven6 today. It's such a awesome technique. It is an awesome, I learned this back in 1990, and it blew me away. Actually, it wasn't the Heaven6, to be honest. It was Heaven and Earth, which is very, very similar. But I had learned that, and it blew me away, and I learned Heaven6 shortly after. And variations, but anyway, it blew me away, and to this day it blows me away. It's one of those techniques that it's so deep that you could study this, keep studying, and it is amazing. I back in the day, I called it the on my YouTube channel, I said this is the Swiss Army knife of martial arts techniques because it's so versatile. So in a nutshell, what I mean by that is you could use it for offense, you could use it for defense, you could use it as a counter, and that pretty much covers everything, right? Now we could go more into detail, but yeah, it is so incredibly versatile. Now, me personally, I really stick by the combat DNA, which is the 4 ranges of combat: long range, medium range, close range, and ground range. And I found that throughout the years that you could actually use the Heaven6 for all 4 of the ranges. Yes, including ground range. That is crazy. When I first discovered that, I was blown away. I was like, what? Heaven6 on the ground? No way. So that was huge for me. That was right around when I was really going into like Kubotan type stuff. Kubotan and the karambit and the knife and the reverse grip. So with the Kubotan, there was a lot of hammer fist type stuff. So you're doing that kind of motion and using this more like this dragging down, ripping down type of motion, that you could actually do that on the ground. So that was huge eye-opener for me. But yeah, it could be used in all 4 ranges. Of course, each range, it's going to look a little different, and that is because each range has its own characteristics. So it changes the weapon a little bit. So anyway, let's see. Let me go back to the Heaven6. Back when I still remember when my instructor said, he said, okay, you guys are ready for weapons now. Do you want to learn the bow staff or do you want to learn double sticks? And I was like, absolutely double sticks, without a doubt. That was the easy no-brainer, and a huge influence for that was, it's not that I knew Filipino martial arts at the time. I didn't know what it was. I had never heard of Escrima, Arnis. I didn't know anything about FMA, but I did know about double sticks, and that was because of the weapon. The movie, sorry. That was because of the movie, The Perfect Weapon, starring Jeff Speakman. Great movie, lots of fun. I highly recommend it. It's typical 90s martial arts action movie. And Jeff Speakman, he's the main character, the main actor in it, and he is representing the style of American Kempo Karate. And it's a great vehicle. The movie is a great vehicle for that. But he shows double sticks in it, and the moment I saw it, I instantly understood that the rapid fire hand techniques that you see in Kempo, which is amazing. Just look up some Kempo guys and you see they got amazing, very excellent body mechanics, very fluid hand strikes. And looking at that movie, I saw the connection between the hand strikes and the double sticks. I instantly knew that they were connected and they fed off of each other. So the sticks helped the hands be super fast and the hands helped the sticks be super fast, like together. I instantly got that. And so that's why I was like, I want my hands to be rapid fire like that. I want to do double sticks without a doubt. So I was so excited to learn double sticks. And when I learned the Heaven6, I was like, this is the kind of thing I want. This technique right here, it captured, the Heaven6 captured exactly that. And I was blown away. And it was tricky to learn, but that's the thing about the double sticks, and especially, it's called double arm weaving, but that kind of the family of techniques, because Heaven6 is just one out of many, but it's pretty much called double arm weaving. And the double arm weaving stuff is really, really good for your brain that they're discovering today, that it helps with hand-eye coordination and using, becoming ambidextrous, both hands. And that's where a lot of people, like, they misunderstand double sticks. They go, especially like tactical people, they go, when am I ever going to use double sticks in a real altercation? And it's like, no, it's about using both hands in a combat situation. That's what it's about. Like I said, when I saw the perfect weapon, I instantly got that. I understood that is what it was about, that it's training me to use both hands super, super effectively. And anyway, you could still do it with one weapon. You could still do the Heaven6, even if you have only one weapon. It's just that your other hand is going to be involved, and that's exactly what you want, so that the other person's going to be overwhelmed by that. Instead of just worrying about one of your hands, they got to worry about both. So that is the benefit there about the double arm weaving, the Heaven6. And for me, at the time, later on at the time, and man, I was so crazy about this technique. I would practice it till wee hours in the morning, past midnight. I would do it for hours and hours, just working on it, trying to get smoother, trying to get faster and more powerful. And I just loved the technique. And let me see. So later on, I had seen the UFC. So that was 1993. UFC came out, and that was when I saw these incredible fights where finally, for the first time, we're able to see, like, because before the UFC, judo people only fought judo people. Boxers only fought boxers. Wrestlers only fought wrestlers. They stayed in their own category. But with the UFC, we finally had a venue where we could see a boxer versus a sumo wrestler, a wrestler versus kickboxer, a sambo guy versus a judo guy. We got to see that, and it was exciting, super exciting for me. And I was really, really going into the full contact stuff, but I had kept the Filipino martial arts stuff separate because obviously the full contact fighting is for empty hands. And I was like, okay, in a street situation, I'm going to use eskrima. I'm going to use Filipino martial arts. I'll use sticks and stuff. But for the for full contact fighting, I can't use it. And then I thought, no, wait a minute, that's wrong. I should be able to use it, because I was taught that there is an empty hand part of our art. And as I was saying, that the double sticks was connected to, using both hands. Therefore, it is, being able to fight with both hands. So I should be able to use the Heaven6 in full contact, for instance, among other Filipino martial arts techniques. In MMA, in cage fighting, back then it was called NHB, no holds barred fighting. So I was like, I should be able to use this stuff in NHB. And I was like, okay, how do I do that? Because it broke the logic of boxing. And I, the first thing I had to do was doing the Heaven6 without it. So doing it empty hand, of course. And the easiest first off translation is to just, like chop with it. Chop, chop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, we do this with sticks, we do this with knives. So that's like a much easier direct translation. But then you get to the point where you start doing it with punches. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So once you go into that, that was huge because later on, when I went back to the knife, so I went to empty hand and then I went back. So from stick to empty hand and then empty hand to knife. When I did that, I realized that now my slashes can also be integrated with stabs. And I don't mean stab and then slash. I meant stabs, doing the Heaven6 like it was all stabs. These are all stabs right here. Okay. And then I could change it into all slashes. Like it basically, I could interchange them whenever I felt like. It was fluid to go from stab to slash, slash to stab. I could mix it in anytime I wanted. And I was like, wow. So that took my Heaven6 to a much, much higher level by going into this empty hand type of stuff. So that was like, wow, that's so awesome. So that was one big, huge hint. The next thing was, I remember, like I said, it broke all the rules in boxing. So in boxing, it's like, you got to keep your hands up, protecting your chin at all times, right? And when you throw your punch, you got to bring it back because if you leave your arm out there, you're exposed. And they're constantly worried about protecting that chin. And I was like, man, the Heaven6 just doesn't do that. And then, like, I started noticing, like, wait a minute, the Heaven6, this stance is kind of like, oh, it's the Philly shell. It could be modified into the Philly shell. It's the same idea here. So this is, the Heaven6 could come right out from the Philly shell. In fact, this here or here, that was such a small, minor adjustment that it just felt natural. Doing it like that, and then now, I went to a capoeira school one day, out of all places, and I remember the instructor asked me, he said, have you ever done any capoeira before? And I said, yes, a little bit, and he said, show me what you know. So I did the jinga in front of him, and he was like, no, it's wrong. You have to do the jinga protecting your face at all times, right? So when I went back home after the class, I started reviewing, and I remember he had said that to me, and I was like, why can't I apply that to the Heaven6? Because obviously this dude uses capoeira for full contact fighting. Why can't I, do the Filipino martial arts techniques also for full contact fighting? So that's the first step. Let me do the Heaven6 that way. So the first thing I did was Heaven6 normal stances like this. So I raised it to protect the head, and then I put it here instead of under here. So I put it here. So then I was doing it all right here. Okay, so that was huge. I was like, okay, now, I feel much more comfortable using this in full contact. The other thing was, I'm always having something in front of me when I'm doing the Heaven6, which kind of breaks that boxing logic where you're supposed to bring it immediately back. But then I had understood there that if I have something in front of me at all times, when we go into the clinch, which that can happen, especially in the realms of full contact fighting, when we go into the clinch, then having this barrier in front of me helped stop their grappling. So it was kind of like anti-grappling. And I was like, that's amazing. And some of these guys, even if I wanted to grapple them, the way they were built was, they're very strong, tough dudes. So just clinching them going into the clinch hurt me. So having this kind of something in front of me and going in with this rather than directly, pummeling in shoulder chest to chest, this was much better for a smaller, weaker guy like me. So that worked very, very awesome. And once again, it helped with shutting down some of their grappling because they want to get close and underneath me to attack me. They want their hips close in. They want to have their weight underneath me, the center of gravity and everything, so that they could throw me or take me down. And by having this, the barriers there from the Heaven6 and constantly having these forearms right against their neck and stuff, I was able to shut them down. And it was many, 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 many years later that I started seeing this actually being used in MMA. In more modern MMA, so that was great. That was another area that another hint that modified my Heaven6 once again, so that I could use it for full contact. But using the Heaven6 with machetes or machete, using it with knife, using it for empty hand, using it for improvised weapons. Such as like even like a cup or something like that, baseball hat, keys, tactical flashlight, tactical pen. I mean, it's just such an amazing, amazing technique. It's definitely, I don't know if I'd call it my favorite, but it's one that I spent a lot of time with and definitely has a soft spot for me right here. And I continue to teach it and practice it to this day. So today now, I call it the blender, which is, for me, it's huge. So with the double sticks, you could do it like almost like meditation. You're doing double stick motions, keep it smooth, circular, make it flow, and it's really, really good therapy, I think. I believe so. But for street usage, now we could start what I call the blender. So you start making it more street applicable. Okay, and so for that, it's not about being smooth and flow. It's about just damaging the opponent and going, direct, unrelentless, just like a freaking blender. You're just going ba 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 ba. So I'm not saying that I recommend that for self-defense, but that is what we train. And it is good to understand that, because if someone's attacking you with it like assault type technique, and that is what a blender is, you can understand it and know the weaknesses and know how to defend yourself and protect yourself against it. So it is definitely important to understand and to practice in that sense. So that's it for episode 1. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.